My name is Jeff Morgan. I'm from Dallas, Texas. And a week or two ago, I did a video regarding Mary Brown, the Honorable Judge Mary Brown of the 301st District Court in Dallas, Texas, and how she had issues with her campaign, that she had issues that she could not get herself on the ballot as the Democratic person who was running for the district court judge of the 301st District. And I also mentioned that because of that, she had to wait it. She's running as a write-in candidate. And there are very specific rules that govern the write-in candidacy, when you can actually file for a write-in candidacy. And one of the big rules is that you cannot collect any funds before you are actually an official write-in candidate. So the earliest time that she could become a write-in candidate was July the 23rd of 2022. And yet, strangely enough, her campaign manager, Jeff Dalton, seemed to be coordinating some events in which they were fundraisers for Mary Brown. And this actually violates the Texas election code. So last night what I did, I thought I need to take this one step further. Somebody wrote to me and said, hey, you talked about doing this ethics complaint. Show us how to do it. Where do we find it? So that's what I'm going to talk about, is the ethics complaint, the sworn complaint before the Texas Ethics Commission. And I did file this complaint against the Honorable Mary Brown last night. And I received confirmation of that. It's at sworn complaints at, I'll provide the email later on, but I gave my sworn complaint. Now, the first thing that you have to do is provide your own identity. So I provided my identity. I provided my name, my address, my phone number, my email address, so they could contact me. And you must also identify the respondent. So the respondent was this Honorable Mary Brown. And her respondent position or title was Family District Court Judge of District 301. Her respondent address was 3300 Marquette Street, Dallas, Texas, 75225. And that's also the respondent's mailing address that I put down. Her phone number in here was 214-373-7676. And her email, the respondent email, was judgemarybrown@gmail.com. So on page 2, they give you a place to write the nature of the alleged violation. And one of the things that they say in here, you need to include the specific law or laws and rules alleged to have been violated. You must allege a violation of a law that is within the Commission's jurisdiction. The Texas Ethics Commission has jurisdiction to enforce only the following laws. Title 15 of the Election Code, and this is exactly what I used. Title 15 of the Election Code, Chapters 302, 303, 305, 572, and 2004 of the Government Code, 334.025 and 335.005 of the Local Government Code, Chapter 159 of the Local Government Code, in connection with the county judicial officer who elects to file a financial statement with the Commission. And finally, number 5 was 2152.064 and 2155.003 of the Government Code. So one of the things you do have to do is make sure that you fill out this form properly. Failure to complete this form properly will cause your complaint to be non-compliant and returned. So this is the first complaint that I've done, but I thought I would share with you what I did, because I think that this is another tool that we have in our weapons to keep these corrupt judges, these unethical judges, in check. This is the Texas Ethics Commission. This is a big deal, what Judge Mary Brown and her campaign manager were doing. And all those who supported her, I kind of wonder, because there's a lot of law firms and attorneys and everything else. I mean, almost 100%. Did the law firms and the attorneys also not know what the Texas election code was? Why are they not considered being maybe reprimanded somehow for an ethical violation? They're just giving money to Mary Brown. Oh, I mean, we're just supporting her because she's a good judge. They're supporting a very good unethical judge is what it comes down to. So my complaint went as follows. The Honorable Mary Brown has violated the Texas Election Code by soliciting and accepting political contributions from before she filed a declaration of write-in candidacy with the Texas Secretary of State. This violation comes under Title 15 of the Election Code. I made a couple of grammatical mistakes here. This violation comes under Title 15 of the Election Code, specifically Section 253.154, which states, Section 253.154, right in candidacy, A right in candidate for judicial office or a specific purpose committee for supporting a right in candidate for the judicial office may not knowingly accept a political contribution before the candidate files a declaration of right in candidacy. B, a person who violates this section is liable for a civil penalty not to exceed 3 times the amount of the political contributions accepted in violation of this section. So that is the code that I mentioned here. And my narrative continues as follows. The Honorable Mary Brown has violated the Texas Elections Code by soliciting and accepting political contributions from January the 1st, 2022 through July the 22nd, 2022, which is evidenced by the campaign finance report she filed with the Texas Ethics Commission on July 15th, 2022, which shows that she accepted $32,000 in contributions. $32,000 in contributions through June of 2022, June 30th, 2022. My understanding of the code here says is that because she accepted these donations and she was not an official candidate, that she is liable for up to 3 times the amount of her contributions as a civil penalty. According to Section 156.025, the Texas Election Code, a declaration of right in candidacy can be submitted no earlier than July 23rd, 2022, and no later than 5 p.m. on August 22nd, 2022, making all contributions received by the Honorable Mary Brown from January the 1st, 2022 through July the 22nd, 2022, a violation of the Texas Election Code. And I've also attached Exhibit MB-1. The Honorable Mary Brown is a sitting judge for the 301st District Court in Dallas County. Her term ends December the 31st, 2022. The Honorable Mary Brown sought re-election but was disqualified as a candidate in the primaries because she submitted forged signatures on her petition in lieu of a filing fee, and officially announced in May 2022 that she would run as a write-in candidate, and held her first fundraiser event that same month. So once again, this is my allegation, and the Texas Ethics Committee will examine this. I believe that the reason she was disqualified, from everything that I can understand, is that she submitted forged signatures on her petition to run as judge in lieu of a filing fee. Because in Texas, you can either have so many signatures and then you don't have to pay a filing fee, or it's a reduced fee, or you can just pay a filing fee. I think it's several $1,000s, maybe $3,000. But Judge Mary Brown did not want to do that. So she engaged in this unethical conduct. The Honorable Judge Mary Brown engaged in unethical conduct and had some forged signatures submitted on her behalf. Wow. And we talk about election integrity. How about signature integrity? Can we have some signature integrity with the Honorable Judge Mary Brown? This is a violation of the Texas Election Code. And it appeared to be a premeditated and very intentional ethical violation of the Texas Election Code. Why would she do something like this? The Honorable Mary Brown, not only is she judge right now, she's the incumbent. That in itself should be enough to give her an edge. But she sought to do this from all the records, is that if you gather money early, you are starting to build up your war chest. You are starting to get your attorneys, you're starting to get your law firms all donating to your cause. You're starting to position yourself so that you can have money to have any type of mail outs that you need, any type of literature and stuff like that. So this is very crooked, what she's doing. It's an unfair advantage. It's an ethical violation, complete violation of the Texas Election Code. And she sought to do this so that she could cheat to win. That's the final version. She sought to do this so that she could cheat. She could raise election funds ahead of when she was allowed to do so that she would have an advantage over her opponents. She did this by soliciting and accepting political contributions in violation of the Texas Elections Code. See Exhibit MB-2, which is attached. So I attached all these exhibits as well in my email to the Ethics Committee, but now the next page here, section number 4, the statement of facts. You must state the facts constituting alleged violations. This is their term, not mine. I've used the term violations many times here, but this is their term. This is a violation of the Texas Election Code. And again, failure to complete this form properly will cause your complaint to be non-compliant and returned. So I'm held to a high standard. I have to fill out this form properly, or my complaint against an unethical judge who is doing unethical conduct, seeking to gain an advantage over her opponents, to cheat her way into office once again. I hope she doesn't get a pass on this, because I have a high standard to meet, and I would think that as a judge, the honorable judge, the judge who determines issues of right and wrong and the application of law, a judge who I believe has 30 years of experience in practice and various things like that. 30 years of experience, I believe, is what I read about her. She should know better. And once again, those who have supported her, the attorneys, the law firms, the platinum sponsors, they too should all know better. Maybe we need to have an investigation into them as well. But anyway, my complaint read as follows. A statement of facts. On May the 9th, 2022, the Honorable Mary Brown's political consultant, Jeff Dalton, posted notification of a kickoff event on his personal Facebook page announcing the Honorable Mary Brown's intent to run as a write-in candidate, and informs that the kickoff event will take place on May the 12th, 2022. And once again, I've attached the exhibit MB. MB stands for Exhibit MB Mary Brown-3. I have personal knowledge of the announcement and that the kickoff event took place. However, it is by information and belief that I believe Jeff Dalton to be a political consultant of the Honorable Mary Brown. So again, I do not have the first-hand knowledge in the fact that I saw this, that I was there listening to it, but I did see Jeff Dalton's Facebook page. Jeff Dalton is, I believe, claims to be Mary Brown's political consultant, claims to be the one, her campaign manager or something along those lines. So I take him at his word, because of course he would not lie about such an issue, and I'm sure he would not want to do anything unethical that would give his candidate an advantage, an unfair advantage, a cheating advantage over her opponents. On May the 10th, 2022, Jeff Dalton puts a post on his Facebook page that the Honorable Mary Brown needs help. She needs help with petitions, because as you recall, she had issues. She had issues with the ballot. Issues, whatever issues means. But now she needs help with petitions for write-in candidacy. Jeff Dalton states in this post that the Honorable Mary Brown asked him and his team to step in and help her with her write-in candidacy. So I guess really when it comes right down to it, Jeff Dalton alone is not responsible, because if Mary Brown is directing her political consultant to do these things, it's coming from Mary Brown. It's coming from the top. It's coming from a judge who should know better and either does know better and intentionally disregards what she knows to be right, or will claim maybe later on, I didn't know that. That's really a pretty shallow excuse, however, because this is the third election campaign that she's run. So I'm sure that, in election campaign number 1 and election campaign number 2, I'm sure she knew all of this stuff. So why would election campaign number 3 be any different? But we'll find out. I'd love to have Mary Brown respond. And Mary Brown, if you're listening to this, or Jeff Dalton, please feel free to reach out to me. I would love to hear your take on this unethical conduct by Judge Mary Brown and this collusion that appears to be taking place to give her an unfair advantage by cheating against her opponents. On May the 12th, 2022, Jeff Dalton posts on his Facebook page that the kickoff event for the Honorable Mary Brown on May 12th, 2022 took place, and shows the Honorable Mary Brown list of sponsors who have made political contributions to her write-in campaign in violation in violation of the Texas Election Code because at this time she has not filed a declaration as a write-in candidate because again, the time frame to do so is no earlier than July the 23rd, 2022. And this event is 3 months before. Actually, it was about 2 months before, so that was a little bit of an error on my part. 2.5, you round up to 3. Also, who paid for this event? Expenditures related to this event are not included in the Honorable Mary Brown's campaign finance report filed on July the 15th, 2022. See Exhibit MB-5, which is attached. You know, you just can't have a campaign and not have any expenses associated with it. What are you going to do? Just have a get together here? Normally at these campaign events and these kickoff events, they have hors d'oeuvres. They've got a place that they're renting out. They've got drinks. They want to get people, you know, nice and softened up and say, hey, I like this Mary Brown. She throws a great party. Let's give some money to her. Let's throw some money her way. Maybe we'll feel a little bit guilty over this because we're getting all this great food, this great drink. I don't know. I wasn't there, so I don't know what took place. But anyway, a campaign event usually does not come at no cost. Within the same post by Jeff Dalton on May the 12th, 2022, there was a list of sponsors of the Honorable Mary Brown based on their contribution level. So we had the platinum, the gold, the silver, the bronze, and the copper, as I had mentioned last time. This is a list of people and or law firms that the Honorable Mary Brown has accepted campaign contributions from outside of the period by the Texas Election Code for a write-in candidacy. I have personal knowledge of this fact because many of these contributions are listed on the Honorable Mary Brown's campaign finance report, which she filed with the Secretary of State on July the 15th, 2022. So the evidence is in the Texas Ethics Commission's own records. Sometimes when you write to these commissions, they say, well, there's not enough evidence. Well, to the Texas Ethics Commission, you've got the evidence right there. She gave you the evidence. So we cannot say that, you know, maybe Jeff, you know, he's crazy this time. No, the evidence is right in front of you. You can look it up. And by the way, though, I did provide them the evidence in case for some reason they don't have it. So I did attach Exhibit MB6. Since at least June the 1st, 2022, the Honorable Mary Brown has had a new website which was clearly created for her write-in candidacy, writedownmarybrown.com. Well, that's not designed for my election candidacy, writedownmarybrown.com. No, it's designed for her write-in candidacy, Write Down Mary Brown. And the donate button has been active and able to accept political contributions since at least June the 1st, 2022. In violation of the Texas Election Code, Section 253.154, which again I've already mentioned in the past, earlier. The website is www.writedownmarybrown.com. And again, another exhibit in case they don't want to go to the hyperlink, MB-7 is attached. On July 15th, 2022, the Honorable Mary Brown filed her campaign finance report with the Texas Ethics Commission. This report shows that the Honorable Mary Brown received at least $32,000 in reported contributions after her kickoff write-in candidacy event on May the 12th, 2022. And actually, I think there may have been a couple of donations before that, so I'm not 100% sure. I really should have looked at that a little bit more thoroughly, but she did receive $32,000 approximately as listed in this filing that she has right here. All these contributions are in violation. Every single one of them, to the best of my knowledge, is in violation of the Texas Elections Code because the Honorable Mary Brown had not yet filed a declaration of write-in candidacy. And see Exhibit MB-8 and MB-9, which I've also attached. So again, the Texas Ethics Commission, you should have plenty of evidence in front of you there. I've never really dealt with the Texas Ethics Commission, so I don't know what they're like, but I do appreciate the fact that they responded back to me so quickly this morning to let me know that yes, they had received my complaint in the exhibits. At the beginning, they said that I was deficient in my exhibits and they asked me to resend them, but they actually were attached in the email, inside the email, not as a separate attachment in itself. So I was off the hook for that. But everything is right there in front of them. So everything that stated to this point is indisputable fact, supported by evidence. You may have a different interpretation, but the facts are there, and the evidence is there. The Write Down Mary Brown campaign, the donations, the party, the Facebook post, unless Jeff Dalton just made the whole thing up, I don't know. I can't imagine him doing that. So everything that I have mentioned up to this point is fact, and it's supported by evidence. It is not speculation. But now there is some information that is based solely on speculation. So I distinguish this. This was not necessarily fact, it was my speculation. On July the 15th, 2022, in the campaign finance report filed by the Honorable Mary Brown, specifically on pages 16 and 17 for campaign finance report, you will see that the Honorable Mary Brown reimburses herself $750 for attorney's fees she has paid in connection to what I believe would have been related to the fraudulent signatures. Now, that's pure speculation. She had fraudulent signatures. Did she hire attorneys to help her out? I don't know. That's speculation on my part. But if you have submitted, signatures that are fraudulent, you might want to have an attorney just to cover your back, to make sure that your bases are being covered somehow or another. So that's pure speculation on my part, but I think it's a reasonable speculation at the same time. And she also reimburses herself $3,000 for a consulting fee. Who exactly was this paid to? I don't know, but I believe it was probably paid to Jeff Dalton. But I can't prove that. I don't know that for a fact. But I did also attach Exhibit MB-9 so that the commission could take a look at that. The Honorable Mary Brown should not be able to use these funds to seek re-election in the general election. And that's what the Texas Election Code says. She should actually be penalized, punished for doing this. 3 times what she raised in political contributions should be the civil penalty assessed against her. So not only does she have to pay back the money that she received in contributions, but she's got to dig herself out of a hole a little bit. And I think that's only right and fair, because she was trying to raise funds to cheat against her opponents. I think it's only right that this take place. And I also put down a link to my YouTube video when I did the video about Write Down Mary Brown, her campaign. The next page here on page 4, I provided them with a list of exhibits. Again, exhibit MB1 through MB9. They're all down here so that if the commission wanted to see, well, what exhibits are we talking about? It's right here. And then you also have on page 5 an affidavit based on personal knowledge. You can either do that and have an affidavit, or you can do an unsworn declaration section. Well, it was late at night. I'm a notary public in the state of Texas, but I can't notarize something for myself. So I said, you know what? I'm going to do the unsworn declaration because the facts and the evidence should speak for themselves. So I put down my name, my date of birth, my address, where I live, and the date that I submitted this complaint, that I filled it out, and my signature. Next page, the same thing takes place, an affidavit based on information and belief, or an unsworn declaration section. Once again, I did all of that stuff. I provided my name, my date of birth, address, date that I submitted it, and my signature. Now on page 7, what you have to do, a complaint will be returned if a copy of one of the following documents is not attached as a proof of Texas residency or ownership of property in Texas. So to file a complaint with the Texas Ethics Commission against a judge, like in this case, you actually have to be a resident of the state of Texas. And there are various documents that you could give. Now what I did, I used my Texas driver's license. Took a picture of it on my cell phone, sent it to myself, attached that into the email so they could see that I am indeed a Texas resident, that I live where I said I lived. There are other things you could use that they have down here as well, but the easiest thing for me was to use my driver's license. And then finally it says that you may submit the correspondence, the completed form, number 1 by mail to Post Office Box 12070, Austin, Texas 78711. You can hand deliver it to 201 East 14th Street, Sam Houston Building, 10th floor in Austin, Texas, 78701. Or you can email to sworncomplaints@ethics, ETHICS, .state, STATE, .tx.us. Please submit only the completed and final forms with the supporting documents in the affidavit notarized. And again, I did not do an affidavit, so it did not need to be notarized. I provided an unsworn declaration. Complaints received by 5 p.m. will be processed, or complaints received after 5 p.m. will be processed the next business day. So this final page right here, it's my mailing requirement. I provided them my email, my name once again, and the date that I did this. So what I want to say is that we have in our Texas anti-family courts in particular, and Mary Brown is an anti-family court judge. Mary Brown is the one who is denying Jeff Younger the ability to visit his children apart from supervised visitation simply because he refuses to acknowledge the fabrication, the fiction, the play game that his son James is a girl. His son James is a boy. Legally, by DNA, on the birth certificate, every single thing says that he is a boy. And Judge Mary Brown thinks that it's abusive of the father to not acknowledge him as a girl, and said that basically at this point he will only have supervised visitation. Mr. Younger has not done this yet, and he's not planning to do this. Instead, he's going to fight. And I will be joining him with others. Our intent is to expose this corrupt and wicked system. And as I said that with Judge Mary Brown, she's obviously very unethical by what I've seen right here. If you take it at face value, you've got to say she's a cheat. She's unethical. She violated, and I believe willingly, the Texas Elections Code. This is the third time that she's been running for judge. If it's the first time, you might say, hey, I didn't know, I'm sorry, whatever, I'll offer you mea culpa. This is the third time. She knew what she was doing, and she intentionally had signatures forged. And then she had to hire an attorney, it appears, to make sure that how do I get myself out of this situation here. So Judge Mary Brown is an unethical judge from everything that I've seen. The $32,000 has come almost 100% from law firms and from attorneys, people that I believe are buying influence. Oh, she's just such a wonderful judge. No, I believe that they're buying influence. Coons Fuller, a platinum sponsor, according to what I've seen. I did not actually see the donation, but a $5,000 donation buys a lot of influence, right? And Coons Fuller, I believe, has not just Mary Brown, but other people too, that they try to buy influence. And that's why Mary Brown ruled the way that she did, I believe, with Jessica Janicek, the child castration attorney, queen attorney from Coons Fuller, because there was no reason that she should have done this. This has been transitioning an underage child has been declared to be an act of child abuse. And Mary Brown, the unethical cheat judge, Mary Brown, cheat judge Mary Brown, said that if you don't believe in this fantasy, if you don't acknowledge this fantasy, you will not see your child. You will have to pay somebody to supervise you when you see your child. This judge is horrendous. She's horrible. We've wanted to see her out of office. She's that bad. And I believe that right here, just by what I filed, that you would see that she actually is extremely unethical. So anybody else who would like to join in this, you've seen, I've provided the exhibits throughout the course of this video here. I've done this other video that I mentioned that I sent to the Texas Ethics Commission. I think feel free to do this because we need to talk about these judges. Filing an ethical complaint against it is a weapon that we have to use to get rid of these unethical, corrupt, purchase judges, and we should use it. So I will update you later when I find out what's going on, but again, somebody asked me that as a follow-up, you've talked about this, how do we go about doing this? So that's just what I did right here. You can use your own verbiage, but I think that the case is clear, 100% clear, that a violation of the Texas election law took place, and you better believe if somebody were to violate her order, even if it's an illegal order, that she would be on them and wanting to fine them for contempt of court. She is in contempt of office. I do hold her in contempt right now because she is a cheat. And I think it's perfectly legitimate for us to hold her in contempt. And I think, in fact, that if you don't hold her in contempt because of her contemptible cheating action, then maybe there's something wrong with you. So Judge Mary Brown, I also believe that she should just say, you know what, I did wrong, I'm going to step down, I am not going to enter this race. I need to accept my punishment, I need to pay back the money, I need to resign my office. We have no confidence in you. And I will say one other thing, I cannot confirm this, but I've heard rumors from other people as well that Judge Mary Brown is a marijuana user, more than a little. But I, again, cannot confirm this, but I have heard this from other people. So that's something else to consider. I mean, maybe, and when I've watched her in court at times, because I have observed her court, it almost looks like maybe she is a little bit spaced out. And maybe that's what's happened. Maybe she had a toke or two before and in the courtroom. I don't know. Especially with COVID, I mean, if you had a little toke or two, nobody could smell it on you because nobody's there, right? Well, maybe somebody's there, but I mean, they're probably being paid off too. Who knows? You know, I can't turn on Mary Brown because Mary Brown's my employer. And if I do anything bad against Mary Brown, I'm going to be out of a job. I don't know. That part is pure speculation on my part. But the violation of the Texas Election Code is not. So don't write down Mary Brown. Do not write down Mary Brown. But I do hope that you file a complaint with the Texas Ethics Commission against judge, unethical, cheat judge, corrupt judge, purchase judged, again, cheat judge Mary Brown. And that's it. Thank you so much.